everybody, Chevy here. If you've been around horses for any length of time, chances are pretty good that you've seen or experienced a close call. In fact, many of the riders that I work with for confidence coaching say that a close call or a near miss is what made them question their abilities and their confidence. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips and mental skills that you can use after you have a close call to boost your confidence instead of wreck it. So what is it about a close call that can cause you to lose your confidence? After all, it was just that, a close call. So to give an example of how a close call can affect your confidence, a few years ago, I was loping Breezy across a field to go and check on cattle. He was a little bit fresh, so I went to circle him to get him to pay more attention to me. And as we started to circle, he slipped in the mud, and we actually went down. Now, we were okay. I was fine, he was fine, and I got right back on, and I finished the job. We had cattle to check. However, a few months later, I was loping across the same field, and it triggered my fear response. Now, while logically I knew that we were fine, it was totally dry. There were no muddy or slick spots. Breezy was connected and paying attention to me. But still, the memory of the incident resulted in an adrenaline spike. I had an increase in my heart rate, and my thoughts instantly went back to replaying the memory of slipping in the mud and falling. Now, this really surprised me, because sure, I was a little sore after the incident, but I wasn't seriously hurt. And it was an accident. It wasn't the result of my horse spooking or bucking. So why did this close call from months ago suddenly reappear? Now, the answer to this question lies in how our brains work. See, we're wired to notice and amplify the negative. A situation in which we could have gotten hurt is going to be flagged by our brains and highlighted in our memories. Then, when we find ourselves later in a similar situation, our brain is going to say, "Hey, you, pay attention. This is where we had a near-death experience before." And that's going to trigger our fear response. So let's learn how to fix it and instead use the close call to boost your confidence. The first strategy I'm sharing with you is what to do right away after the close call happens. So after the situation is back under control, you've verified that you and your horse are both okay, take a minute to breathe and reflect on what just happened. Now, it is super common for us tough and gritty cowgirls and gritty riders to want to just dust ourselves off and put the incident behind us, get back on our horse, and go back to what we were doing. However, when we do this, the part of our brain that's in charge of our fear response, the amygdala, or what I like to call my inner cave woman, it files this away as a near-death experience. Now, the job of your inner cave person is to be aware of danger and to alert you if there's anything that could possibly harm you. So your inner cave person does this by remembering situations where you were hurt and situations where you could have been hurt. And then when your inner cave person realizes that something similar is happening again, they respond by sharing the memory and triggering that fear response. So basically, by moving on right away after a scary event just happened, you're ignoring your inner cave person at a time when you really need to reassure it. And when we ignore our inner cave person, it is much more likely to give a stronger fear response later to make sure that you are paying attention to it this time. So after a close call, take a moment to reflect on what just happened. Label your feelings. Reassure yourself and your inner cave person that while this was scary, you are okay now. If there's an action that you took that prevented the close call from turning into a really big wreck, recognize it and shift your focus to this. And this will help you to feel more in control. And if there's a lesson or a positive to be learned from the experience, state it as well. So, for example, instead of just dusting myself off, saying, whew, that was close, and getting back on and riding off after Breezy and I slipped in the mud, here's what I should have done. I should have taken a few deep breaths. Now, taking deep breaths signals your body to shift from the fear response to the relaxation response. Then I should have said to myself, that was scary. We slipped in the mud and I felt really out of control. And it worries me that I could have gotten hurt while out here all alone. I'm glad that the mud was soft and that I didn't get hurt and that Breezy didn't get hurt either. It's a good thing that I kicked my feet out of the stirrups as soon as I felt Breezy losing his balance so that there was no way that I could have gotten hung up, which really would have been a serious wreck. Now I know that I need to spend a little bit more time trotting when my horse is fresh. Trying to save time by loping him across the field doesn't help if Breezy or I get hurt. I'm okay now, and Breezy is okay now. Now we can continue on. Then I would take another couple of deep breaths and get back on the horse. So to repeat those steps, here's what to do right after a close call. So first, assess the situation. Are you safe now? Are you okay? Are other riders okay? Is your horse okay? The answer is yes to all of this, then move on. Step 2 is to breathe. Taking a few deep breaths cues your body to shift from the fear response to the relaxation response. Step 3 is to acknowledge that something scary just happened. Name it and label how it made you feel. Step 4 is to reassure your inner cave person that you are okay now. Step 5 is to recognize the actions or something that you did that prevented a serious wreck from occurring. And then step 6, state any lessons learned. What do you know now that will help you if a similar situation occurs again? So stay tuned for the next video in the series that describes the second strategy and what to do after the close call when you find yourself replaying the event and going down the what if rabbit hole.